Yes, here we go. We are live on the Bhoycie Bus. It's Wednesday night. Wee bit later show than normal, Mick. Thanks very much for joining me at 20 to 9. I appreciate your time, mate. Obviously, I think there's a lot of fans with a lot of questions about how the meeting's going. I think it's still ongoing. I hung in there as long as I could, if I'm honest. That's just my take. I find these situations awkward, though I'm probably not the best person for such environments in the first place, to be honest with you. So that takes nothing away with the contributions that were made at the North Curve arranged meeting that occurred today with a lot of people online, a lot of people um, within the venue that they chose. I've took some notes again. It's not my forte taking notes for meetings and all that bollocks. I'm very much someone who speaks their mind, and one of the things that I've done probably the last 18 months, and then kind of waned on it of late, Mick, if I'm honest, is probably the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, because of the frustrations that we've all got, by the way. I've listened to more Celtic podcasts than I have in years, if I'm honest. The reason I don't is because it skews my views. Skews my views, rhymes. But I mean, it skews my views in the sense of I love just to give my own honest take without being influenced by others and what I'm watching. But obviously, when things are as they are right now off the field, you can't help but then dip into it. I'll be honest, I felt frustration listening to some of the shows that I have chosen to listen to, and that's not no offense to any of them. It's more maybe frustration that a lot of the views that we've been sharing on the channel for so long are now being picked up on and are allowed to be okay to say. There's a lot of rewriting of history about the summer 22 window, which is the most frustrating one for me on a personal level, just because I really feel that's where the bus kicked into gear in terms of calling out the board. And it was kind of poo-pooed and made out to be a lunatic, and I may as well have been wearing a tinfoil hat at the time. Whereas now it seems to be viewed that, as Mark Kearney said so many times, and he was accurate, that the managers were actually disguising the feelings of the board and we were winning trophies in spite of the board, not due to their help. However, you find yourself in these environments, you've got to be open-minded. I was open-minded. I listened to everything everyone had to say. I posted questions in there that weren't read out. Please don't think that's because I've got a victim who done that. That there was very few from the online chat that were getting read out. So what I can do always on this channel is read out what I've asked. Whether they were answered or not is irrelevant. There was posts that were answered, there wasn't. Mick, how are you first and foremost, mate? Leaving you sitting there silent. Apologies and thank you for coming on.
No, not at all, mate. All good. I've been looking forward to coming on, and I've been getting the updates here and there from the meetings. So, by the way, I just want to say thanks to them. I know a few of the folk that are behind the meeting and involved in setting up and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
I know the work that's gone into it. So, fair play to them. I think the support on them, I thank you as well, because it's all been done for a greater good. Going
Well, I
forward.
couldn't agree more with that. I couldn't
Aye.
agree more with that. And I think it's very important that you share that view because I'm very guilty of holding my wee personal fucking gripes. Do you know what I mean? Just purely because of, as I say, the social media stuff. Whilst I can make out it doesn't affect you at the time, it fucking does annoy you at the time, you know, especially when it becomes all personal. Um, when you were genuinely only caring about the club, the same way everyone does, really. But the woods for the trees seems to have been cleared, and people are now very much dancing or singing the same sort of hymn sheet, or the same spreadsheet, as Charlie Nicholas would say. The rest of us are or have been for a long time. All that good stuff means give us a like, give us a share, buy some hair. And remember, do hit the subscribe button if you've not already. If you have hit subscribe, please do hit the bell because you never know when the bus might show up these days. As I was saying earlier, 20 to 9 on a Wednesday. It's not exactly our normal roll call for you to jump on the bus, but yet here we are. So if you've got that bell hit, then you'll know there's a show up coming and you know to jump on. And remember, piesports.com still sponsor the channel. It's still 10% off, 12.5% off, sorry, with your tasty pastry treats if you use the code BUS1888. And if you want to become a member, it's totally optional. It's $1.99 a month. You'd be better donating it to Peter Lawwell, to be honest with you, because I'll just spend it all on beer and hopefully some beers for Mick in the very near future as well, because he's been on the show a few times of late and we're hoping he's going to be a regular fixture. And if you're on the Bhoycie Bus, mate, trust me, unlike many of them, I don't just view you as contributors, I view you as appreciative compadres. And the one thing we can say on this bus is, whilst the profits are fucking paper round money, I'm happy always to split the paper round money as and where I can when subscription fees and all that are taken off. And people have always been weighed in where we treat every single member that's been on the channel before can testify to that. Right, let's get stuck in. The thing they opened with was a survey. I don't know if there's an allowance to do this. I generally don't give a fuck. It was a survey that we all signed, or we're all signatories to. I was one of them. So let's just get on with it. Here's the survey results. Mick, they're pretty damning. Let's just go through it question by question. I want your reaction. Probably make it a wee bit snippety if you can. If we need expanded on, I will jump in and ask for a wee bit more from you. But potential objectives: do you endorse a vote of no confidence in the Celtic FC board? 99.4% of 38,832 responses within 3 days, 99.4% said yes. Any shocks there?
I'm actually shocked that it's so united, mate, to be fair. Not shocked, but
Okay.
obviously I had a kind of view of the survey would go very high and coming off the home cup ticket scheme and stuff and boycott Europa League. I thought that would be really high, but at the same time you've got to be kind of sympathetic to folk who run buses and stuff and not organised and stuff behind it. And to be honest, boys, I know folk I just don't want to come off it because they've got their own kind of ritual and stuff going to
I get that.
and that's just what they do, mate. And you know what? Absolutely fair play. We'll all get our own sort of love behind the club, but generally the fact that it's so unanimous and it's brilliant. I just love to see it, and it's great seeing the support so united behind behind this one cause, because we can have a fractured support at times, and it's just the nature of support, and different supporters groups maybe not speak to each other and stuff like that. Things like that happen. It's not the end of the world, but that's been what's been so heartening about this cause since the vote later came out.
Yes.
It's been the fact that everyone is literally being so united with each other. We all want the one common goal. We've all come together, and this is seeing the results tonight is generally it's heartening, mate. To be honest, because it's been a long time for I've seen our support this united, and it's brilliant to see. Generally, and it's a great contribution for everybody involved and everyone that signed it. And so, mate, over the moon, mate. Just one result, secondly with the unity.
Yes, I think that's very important. I think Polymorphous is a great point here. It's great to have you on live, Polymorphous. I know you've been watching the channel for years, so great to have you on live. He says you always expect at least a couple of percent swing. I think he means going the other way. Yeah. Over 99% is outrageous. I think that is an important point. Teresa's asking if we can zoom in. I don't know how to do that. I can try. Let me try. No.
I'm just going off this, mate, because I've seen it literally.
You've seen it, aye.
Coming on, so I can't know what the gist of it is, but I can't really see it either. I'm quite honest.
Oh, so can you not?
I'll come up there.
Let me try. Look at this. I'm fucking tech savvy, man. I'm tech savvy. Here we go, Teresa. Here we go, Mick. Very interesting. Would you endorse a call for the removal of? And they went through individuals. Now, I did the survey, right? And I'm happy to disclose my responses. Mine was it was yes, no, or other, if you remember. Mick, yeah? So Michael Nicholson, I'd said yes, 99.3% agreed. Peter Lawwell, 98.8% agreed with yes, as did I. Chris Mackay, I put other. Now, this is my damning part that I want to be clear. Is I put other because obviously you're then offered the opportunity to leave a note as to why you've put other. I put other because I said I don't know what he does or is meant to do.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair?
That's fine, mate. He's obviously goes by title chief financial officer, so he's. But my understanding is that Michael Nicholson is the one who is in charge of orchestrating deals between the clubs, right? As the CEO.
Is that normally what a CEO does?
Well, usually, a lot of clubs have a director of football who deal with stuff like that.
Correct. A sporting
Exactly
director
right.
who does it, but on behalf
It's
of a
just,
CEO. That would be my take, yes.
so that's not normal. That's just an outdated way to do it anyway. Like,
Correct.
that's just a fact, right?
Correct.
Way a board run is Chris Mackay is the one that deals with the players' contracts once the allowed talks, whatever. So the two of them need to go. It's just as simple as that. They're both as bad as each other.
Why do you think when it comes to the chairman, the Celtic chairman, remember he was non-exec, we've had this discussion, I love still bringing it up because the arguments I had, I remember having one with one of the boys' friendless Celts, love those guys by the way, so let's not have it like there's a big drama in that. I think it was John from there, had been quite animated on Twitter with me at the time, amongst others, but he stood out because he represented a pod that I really, really like. Not because it was anything personal, as I say, it was just difference of opinion. But he was adamant that this non-exec chairman meant he did nothing. He non-exec, what do you not understand, sort of thing, Bhoycie. The fact he is Peter Lowell Celtic chairman, without that ever being announced and changing from non-exec, tells you everything you need to know on that. And I was proven right. 98.8% of people would endorse a call for his removal. How significant is it that higher percentage of people want the removal for someone who, in Celtic's and in John Tomlinson's defence for the endless Celts, someone that was portrayed to be doing zilch? How do you think it is 98.8% want him not to be in situ of being this non-executive Celtic chairman that does hee-haw? Why would 98.8% feel out of 38 odd thousand views, it's an awful lot of people to not want him to do anything, mate?
Well, let's be honest, Russell. It's legacy issues with Peter Lowell. How long he became our chief executive in 2003, just after we got to Seville, and what he done right away was he started downsizing, right? Which a lot of us, if we've been honest, maybe it needed because our wages are through the roof at the time, never right. I don't believe it, but fair. I think that's what we should have kicked on even more again because potential was there. But he started downscaling from day one, and that's never ever left us. We've always tried to do everything cheap. We've lowballed every single offer, every loan offer and stuff. There's always been a drama around transfers. We've never had players in early to support qualifiers and stuff, and that's going back to 2003. Don't know. We've had good teams since then. We've had good players, but those core issues have always been there since then. And the fact that Michael Nicholson worked under him for so long, and now Law was the position above him, and Michael Nicholson is that same traits, shows you the whole board. Nicholson, Peter Lawwell, firstly, I think he's just been an absolute cancer in the club. And especially the way he speaks about the fans, everything, right? He just needs removed. He's not fit for purpose. He should have gone long ago because you never ever get. Like the longest we could be a chief executive of a club normally is about 7 years.
A business, mate.
A business that's kind of what I meant.
Not just a football club. No, don't think I'm trying. I'm not trying to nitpick with you, Mick. I'm on your side, mate. I just want to give you a couple of tidbits for the meeting now, based on the views. I know you probably heard it already, so let's let the viewers in a wee bit here. There's 115 live right now, so I know it's small fry what we do on the bus. But believe me, it'll be big fry very soon. Because we have been completely honest in everything we've ever done on the channel, and I stand by. There's always surprises when it comes to the bus. More than that, maybe as the week plays out. Michael Nicholson obviously was part of a meeting, as we know, with the affiliation of supporters. Is that right, Mick? On Friday?
Yeah, the Celtic Supporters Association, the affiliation, and the Irish affiliation.
Perfect. The findings that we were told at the meeting tonight, mate. I told you off air, and it kind of blew your mind. You could see you were genuinely animated and angry. I'm not asking you to repeat that when you hear it a second time, but I'm just trying to let people know how fucked off you were at this. Nicholson explained on Friday that he was told, I should say, that the feelings have went on, and this maybe I'm going to point out this one that annoys me a wee bit. He was told apparently on Friday that this runs a lot deeper than just the result against Almaty and the failure to qualify for the Champions League. I struggle with that because I don't think if we qualify for the Champions League, that meeting that we've just done tonight happens. End of. Yes, I think you can then combine it all and say there's a longer term thing here. But I've been saying that for so long. I think if we do muddle by in the Champions League to the group stage, I don't think this meeting happens. So I think the board could smugly nod along with that, but not quite believe it. However, the response, and this is what staggered you, mate, I honestly is beggar's belief, is that in terms of fan engagement and the strategy, the plan is actually pinned on Michael Nicholson's wall. He's just not told any of the fans yet, and they're getting round to it. What is your second reaction to that, mate?
I don't know what fan engagement he's talking about because he's got literally zero fan engagement, and they have done for years. The only time they both speak to the supporters is when I want the season ticket one. Even then, though, it's not even directly from the board. It's a stupid advert, whatever. When basically an advert's online, sign up now, and you've got till this certain date to do your season ticket. It's been that way, but I don't know if I've heard from Michael Nicholson as a support for easily at
1,356 days the Celtic blog's currently posting.
That's it. I know maybe spoke to different fan groups at certain points, but even then he's not speak to fan groups anymore. He's just literally a mute.
So we had this meeting on Friday. What do you make of the sort of rhetoric of the strategy plans pinned on a wall? How? See, for me personally, I think it's condescending as fuck. And I do feel that when he says things like that, it shows amateur hour. It also probably isn't quite true because you would expect more from them. Is this something that he's again just trying to say, we've got it all in hand, we're just not letting you in yet? Deal with it.
Well, what strategy plan? Bumping out of the Champions League to a Kazakhstan.
It's on the wall!
No, there's no strategy plan. Exactly, so he's talking absolute shite. There's no strategy plan. There never has been. Let's be honest for Sophie, he's took over. And it was the same under Peter Lawwell. The plan was to maximise revenue and maximise income, especially off the supporters. The bleed us dry every season. And that's been their plan. On the park, they're fly-by-nights, basically. We're never, ever prepared for Champions League qualifiers. And I'm going back easily 10, 15 years here. We're never, ever prepared. We go in, hope we'll qualify, rather than saying we'll go in confidently and we have the squad to deal with it. And this is going back years and years. I mean, I spoke to you last week about it.
Yes.
This is just one example. Brendan Rodgers' first season, folk talk about the investment he got. Brendan Rodgers never got a great investment the first season.
No.
First qualifier, I'd been near Beaton and Ona Coral.
Yes. Yep.
What big club thinks like that?
None.
So if you haven't got any is that your strategy? Is that what they're saying?
What do you mean? I don't know if you watched. I did a breakdown of the statement, Mick, and I'm not asking you. I think you probably didn't watch it, right? Use that daft. But I broke down the statement right on Wednesday. Not Wednesday, on Monday. And I kept highlighting a point that they made, which is fascinating in that statement, Mick. Fascinating. It goes along with what you just said there. They say the financial strategy is not optional. Now, for me, that then goes hand in hand with 7 out of 9 non-qualifications for the Champions League when you've had to navigate qualifiers. 7 out of the last 9 we've not made. If the financial strategy is non-optional, I think they're telling you that Celtic's European future is not an optional either, or progression, I should say, European progression is not an optional. It is Lady Luck that will decide whether we make it or not to the top table. I find it baffling that in 2025, 5 qualification campaigns in a row, may I add, they failed in, 7 at the last 9. If that's non-optional, how can you say in the same statement that the volatile nature of forecasting football means it's so difficult? We've actually the easiest road, I think, of any club that has to navigate qualifiers. We've had access more years than any of them consistently. We could almost guarantee for years, particularly when they weren't in the league, that we would have access to qualifiers at the very least for the Champions League. Even when they were there, because they were building the coefficient up, as you said last week, thanks to a lot of their coefficient work.
Mm-hmm.
When we finished second the one year, the one out of the last 14 that we have, we still had access to Champions League that year. We still failed. If there's no fluidity and it's non-negotiable and non-optional how they run the financial strategy of the football club, then I'm sorry, that coincides with what you'll see in the park and the competitions that you see Celtic participate in. I thought that was a really damning one, Mick, and I want your feedback on that.
Well, just kind of back to everything I said, Russell. Like, for me, it's to me, it's very simplistic. The aim at any football club board, right, should be to maximise the playing team department. Everyone else grows from there. The revenue grows, prize money for being in the Champions League. Everything just grows from there. Basically, you sell more tickets, you sell more merchandise, you sell more kits. All by having a better product in the park, and one for not taking the fans for granted as well. That's the main thing. So,
is it not incumbent on the board year on year? A board is there to support the football operation in the park. I say so at the time in the chat, so I'm so apologies if I'm boring anyone, but I can't get the message through across enough. Is it not incumbent on a board that, in terms of what their role is to support the football operation to the best of their abilities within the tools that they have, which i.e. would mean each pre-season or each start of each season or at the end of each summer transfer window, if we want to really give them some leverage, would be for a stronger first 11 choice for the manager to have, injuries aside, than what they had the year before.
Yeah, well, I saw a cracking saying earlier, Russell.
Go on.
That the business is there to support the football team. The football team is not there to support the business.
I am.
What way are we running it just now? What way have we running it? Been running it the last 10 years for a start.
Yeah.
So,
Mick,
there you go.
See that quote, which is amazing. I'm not even exaggerating. Mark will jump in the chat if he's still there right now. I said those exact words 3 years ago. Word for word. That's not me trying to be a smart, so it sounds like I'm a wee bit tonight, and I'm not trying to be. Let's move on. So, from Nicholson strategy being pinned on a wall, we had Jim Orr of Axon, right, comes on. Right? There's the judge out. Straight in Bhoycie's words. I promise that was my words. I promise. That was my exact thing. And he wouldn't, trust me, Mark doesn't agree with me if he doesn't, unless he's agreeing, you know what I mean? He'd probably be sitting there right now going, if it was shit, he'd say it was shit. I promise that was exact words I said. I used that exact flip term as well. Anyway, Jim Orrs came in, and Jim's obviously quite a deep thinker. And he was looking at this survey that we've still got up in front of us, right? And he's saying, how can you do all of these all at once?
Okay, not.
So, if you're taking out these 3, who's picking the next 3? If you've got a fan advisory board member on there, who's picking that member? How do we actually... And I think he's quite conservative, and I don't mean that politically. Please get that idea right out your head, anyone listening. I think he's quite conservative, and he's maybe more pensive than a younger person. Sometimes that can bring wisdom, sometimes it doesn't. I felt that he was nitpicking, if I'm honest. And I don't mean that anything personal to Jim whatsoever.
Mhm.
Because if you're going to have a fan but I wonder if he was just not being direct enough. If you're going to have a fan advisory board member, then let's just make it category 0% that those three guys are going to be involved, because they're not going to have that. So maybe it's a byproduct of, if you want the bottom two, a democratic Celtic fan body, along with a fan advisory board member, then it's physically impossible to do that with any of those three on there. Yeah?
Yeah.
But if you voted a non-confidence in the Celtic board, who then endorses, or who gets to make the call to have the fan advisor? Who takes over, I think, as well, was his concern. Because when the chief exec left last time, Mick, who picked the next chief exec? When the chairman retired, who picked the non-exec chairman? Who became chairman? It could very much just be that we see another game of musical chairs, and your bottom two questions become redundant because they'll never be the turkeys that vote for Christmas, which it would be if there was a fan advisor on the board, because they'd be reporting back just as I am from a meeting right now. They'd be doing that after every board meeting. They'd never want that exposure and that expose, would they?
No, of course I don't. Russell, let's be honest, the club's been run like a bowling club for the last 25 years. It's basically musical chairs, like you said, use that term, musical chairs. One moves out, one of the pals group moves in, and that needs to be weeded out the team, the club, sorry. Like you said, that Ian Banker before Lawwell, wasn't it? He was the chairman when Lawwell was the chief executive. So, and Michael Nicholson worked under Lawwell as the CFO, which is Chris Mackay's done now, I'm sure.
Correct.
Right. So this on
And bear in mind, Matt Lowell was added to the gang as well at one point.
exactly. And he was, what was it he done before that? He wasn't even a head of,
He's a data analyst, I think, for footballers, football and data, the football and database analyst or something along those lines at Man City. And he was appointed to the head of recruitment at Celtic.
I think that's been found out to a lot of nonsense, Russell, to be fair. I'm sure somebody uncovered that in LinkedIn, that it was a lot of nonsense.
Oh, I think it was like data he worked in. I think I think at first it was getting made out we were getting Man City's like head of scouting. That's my memory anyway.
No, exactly. I'm agreeing with you. I'm just saying, like, his background when he came in was grossly exaggerated. And even stuff like, do you know who's our chief scout now? Our chief scout is one of Strachan's boys.
Go on.
Head of scouting. That is what his previous job was.
Who?
He was a manager at a golf shop. I think it's Craig Strachan, I'm sure.
Oh, because Gavin's still on the coaching staff.
He's still on the coaching staff. Gordon Strachan's other boy is our chief head of scouting. Either chief scout or head of scouting. His previous job was he worked in a golf shop.
Now, do you remember there was the appointment of David Pleat? No, by the way, just so you know, David Pleat's miles ahead of these people. He's a football guy. A 100%. Football guy, Mick. Yep. All his faculty's still with him, forget his age. And that was kind of getting poo-pooed at the time, and I thought, you're fucking not listening. I think David Pleat has he lost his job? Is he still at Celtic? And my guess is he's fucked off, right? My guess is he's fucked off at the back door and probably signed another NDA. It's the honest truth. There's a payoff. Don't say anything about your time at Celtic. He was on TalkSport today, and I was so intrigued when Celtic's name came up in relation to Ange, what he was going to say about his time at Celtic, or if he was still at Celtic. Yet nothing. I thought, this is bizarre, and it tells me he's got an NDA that he's signed, and he's past fucking having to worry about that shit. He's got great grandchildren probably to fund, and I respect that. But he was someone who was miles ahead of these guys, mate, at 80 years old, and I stand by that. And I said it at the time. Just very quickly on the Strachan thing, people are so unaware of this, so unaware they don't join dots, Mick. And I'm sure you've probably heard us of this chat on the bus, if not been party to one. Adam Virgo joined Celtic from Brighton and Hove Albion because Gordon Strachan was Celtic manager and Mark McGee was in charge of a cash-strapped Brighton and Hove Albion who needed £1.5 million.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember that?
I do remember it, Russell.
Does it
I
make
do
sense?
I remember it vividly. Uh-huh.
When there was another one as well. It was one of the ones that went to Middlesbrough from Aberdeen when Mark McGee was in charge of them. Lee Miller, it might have been. Someone like that. Strachan and McGee. Strachan seems to have this. Strachan, people forget, held a role of importance at Dundee as CEO or director of football. Director of football it was. And came as an advisory role at Celtic when Angie's started, went Pete Tong. How can you be in two clubs in Scotland at the one time? Celtic bent those rules. I know everyone's out to get Celtic apparently, but trust me, that was playing with the rules and also shows you the bowling club theory that you were talking about, mate. We're just adding those wee tidbits in there because they frustrate the life out of me. You know that. When you mention Strachan's, I think of that with I didn't realise he was that. There was a great point made as well by one of, and I didn't take their name down, so apologies. It was about the non-execs doing their job, which is fair. But then there was another one that really grabbed me, and it was, what do we do here? Because surely the most important thing still is to back the team. If Celtic don't back the team here, that point gap can go like that. And we've seen it happen, by the way, the other way around. The mind the gap year. If you want to get a wee bit emotional, I think that was the spirit of Tommy Burns that somehow broke them. That's my romantic way of looking at it. But it showed you as well the power of momentum. Yeah. We're against a rival right now that's 4 draws from 4 games in the league that are getting no heat. I watched that one Celtic fans view. I'm sure he's a good guy. I put you on, as I say, I've been watching a few recently. And he was trying to go, careful what you say though, because the media love this. The media don't love this. Get over that. Get over that. The big drama is at Celtic right now. And we want the drama at Celtic right now if this movement's going to go ahead. So you can't have it both ways. But we have to back the team in the middle of it. That bit, I couldn't agree more with. Mick, the team could get lost in all this, but we've actually got Balakwisha, Tunekte, and, of course, this big Nigerian striker, I have got a mad feeling, mate, by the way, is just going to smash it. Again, not by design. As Mark Kearney says, if he is a success, it will be in spite of the board. I watched the fat footage of him from Middlesbrough. No fat offence intended, but we all watched it. And then I seen Brendan's reaction to him when he walked in that training ground. Did that not look, Mick, to you? Boy, oh boy, did I need you. Here you are, my man. Let's fucking go. That's the vibe I got. And maybe just to kick up the balls, a super talented £20 million footballer needed. I don't do the sycophantic Paul Brannan shit, mate. But watching that footage did inspire me to think, in spite of everything, that reminded me to back the manager, and we have to back the new players that have came in, and we have to back the team.
100% agree, Russell. And just a funny point. One of the boys I know through football and stuff, right, goes to Middlesbrough every week. He's up here for Celtic games like so many times, it's mental. As soon as we signed him, I messaged him about Iheanacho, and he sent me a few things, but he sent me his Instagram post from the summer. Because I don't know what he was involved in, but he managed to play in the Middlesbrough Park at the Riverside. He sent me his Instagram post about him with his feet, basically saying, at least I won't be the worst player to play for Middlesbrough in this park. That goes to Iheanacho. It's like, oh Jesus Christ, what will be signed here? That's generally what he said, right? And he sent me the post. I was gutting myself laughing, but like you said, we've got to get behind the team and the manager. There's got to be a kind of a siege mentality now that every game, every home game, every away game, every cup game, whatever, we get behind the team, and that's separate. That's a separate issue fan demonstrations and protests, whatever, they're going to be there. That's just, that horse is bolted now. It's going to be every game. But at the same time, we need to be united in supporting the team as well and supporting the manager, because it's not going to be an easy season for everything that's going on. And it won't be. But we need to stick together behind the team. But that message can't be lost that we're against the board. And those figures tonight shows you. But
Yes.
like,
What did you make very quickly? Just because I like to do a really positive twist. Obviously, you've watched the wee training bit of footage. When do you share my view that when you seen Brendan shake hands with the actual, I know he then turns to Ballot Wish after it, go, oh fuck, I forgot to sign you almost. Right? But in general, I thought the way it was when it actually, that's not for cameras, mate. That looked like a guy going, fucking need you here, mate. Thank you. Now let's get to fucking work. I've got a feeling this is Scott Sinclair.
Alopecia?
Oh, no. In terms of fallen giant from the EPL, or not giant, but fallen proper PL guy, coming in his peak years like Scott Sinclair did, but being someone who, remember when you played your best football, it was under me, Cunto. Let's go again. I need you here. I've just took over Ronnie Dylas' team. Scotty, I need you, mate. I'm going to inspire you. And we've got 2 years of greatness with Scott Sinclair. Don't care what anyone says. Greatness. And history will be so kind to that guy. You know that. In fact, he's not in those Legends games and stuff. Was he? I don't think he was. I think saddening because he really did buy into Celtic. And I think maybe there's been a harshness to him that isn't fair. He's not Chris Commons, mate. And I think Ian Actual, that's the vibe I'm getting. I need you, mate. Come and do this for me here. Let's get you back to where you were when your best years are still ahead of you. Your peak years are going to be with me again. Let's go. Do you understand the vibe I'm getting at now?
Oh, definitely. Oh, definitely. I mean, I don't know. He's here now, so we're going to have to support him. Obviously, we'll do it as we always do. Supporters, we'll always support the players that come into the team. That's just a given. All right. Even the Balakwisha, we might not like to circumstances that he came in under after chasing off someone and stuff. But I said to some, that's not the player's fault either. Now he's here, we need to support him, and I don't have any doubt that the supporters will do that. That's just what we do. We're here, we support the team. We've always done that. We have arguments elsewhere, but we're always the best at getting behind our team. That won't change.
I've got the potential actions type of results on there. I'm just going to quickly run through them again, mate. And again, your feedback, Mick, is welcomed. Would you endorse a call to withdraw from the home cup ticket scheme? 93.9. So you've seen a big drop off there for the removal of the individuals aforementioned. You're now seeing it slightly drop off, but still crazy unanimous that the HTC scheme is in jeopardy completely. Europa League fixtures one is really, really ironic because, as you'll be more than aware than most as a season ticket holder, out came the package today. 4 pods on a Tim, again, allies that we've had for the bus because Tony's came on done regular shows. People I think that have been singing for the same hymn sheet as us in the main. Albeit a wee bit Ange indulgent for me, but hey, that's okay. I don't want everyone to be the same. I really enjoy their content, always have. They spoke about how the last Europa League campaign we'd done was 21-22, Angie's first season. Tickets then were £22, they're now 35. I think that was something like a 34% increase in price. Mick, they've released it the day they know this meeting's occurring. What you make of that as a season ticket holder? For me, from the outside, I wouldn't be buying the tickets anyway, mate. But I think that's a slap in the face, is it not?
I made the decision a while ago, mate. I'm not buying the Europa League tickets. I think just don't get wrong. See, like I said to you before, if we strengthen the summer and we into the qualifiers for the Champions League and get put out, right, fine, that happens. It's all backdrop of why you're in Europa League. That's obviously sticks in people's throats. And I saw it today. I had a funny feeling they were going to release the tickets today. And it came up, they've been released. And what was the funny part of it?
There was a Thursday the 4th thing, wasn't there?
It'd been loaded since last Thursday, and they're shitting themselves to release it.
How did that come out? I didn't understand that photo. Could you explain that a wee bit better? Because there's just so the viewers know, there's an image of the four pods, the four Tims in a pod also shared, and it seemed to show 4 individual tickets with a purchase date availability of the 4th of September, which should have been last Thursday. What does that all mean?
Well, you need a ticketing account with Celtic, right? You go in and you buy the tickets, and it shows when the tickets were loaded onto the system. And obviously, I just came out today, so it should really say from the day's date, but the date we put on the system was last Thursday. So they should have been available to buy from last Thursday, going by the ticketing system. But I've obviously held them back because of the statement and the backlash and stuff like that. And it just shows how small time we've become, Russell. Stuff like that and how petty, you know what I mean?
But everything's under a magnifying glass right now, Mick. We've got a guy, Kieran Allen, who's coming in, right? And I don't want to ignore him. He's obviously very angry at Brendan for some reason right now, but that's fine. Everyone's got to have different points. For example, you've got Gavi Boy who says, Bhoycie, it's all about the team. I understand it's chaos. It's all we can do. Just give all of these players all the chances. So much negativity and fuck the ball. I share that, Gavi Boy. I think you share that, Mick. 213 live, I'm sure, share it. Kieran's got many points about Rodgers. He says that they've been in decline since January, largely because players don't want to be at Rodgers versus a Celtic. I find that hard to believe. I think the Celtic board don't want Rodgers to be at Rodgers version of Celtic, and I think they sell players that Rodgers version of Celtic creates value on. Since Rodgers has been here, Kieran, I'm going to give you 2 great examples. And I really hope these ring true to you, mate. And I might sound a bit condescending and patronising because it's intended, unfortunately, in these scenarios. And that's when Matt O'Reilly is on the bench for probably your favourite manager in the world, Ange Postecoglou's Aaron Moy. Rodgers, within 12 months, turned a £1.5 million player into a £30 million record sale. When Brendan Rodgers got a guy with teeth issues that meant he couldn't play and was written off by all our support, i.e. Nicholas Kuhn, bought in for just £2.5 to £3 million. He sold him within one full season for 17 million. So players want to play for Rodgers Celtic. If it's not Celtic they want to play for, you want to use those templates to play for a Rodgers Celtic because that's how quick he turns careers around. Mick, I'm not having that players don't want to play for a Rodgers Celtic. I think, if anything, he makes Celtic a sexier option for a lot of players, particularly young ones that want to further their careers going forward.
I'll give you 100%, Russell, but I'll back Kieran up. The point is, we have been declined since January. I think that's, you can't argue that fact.
That's fair. That is fair. I think the squad is in decline since January. Do you agree, though, it's largely because of people don't want to be at Rodgers Celtic? I'd be intrigued to get your thoughts.
No, I don't. I mean, I think it's partly the fact that, if you're being honest here, players like Cameron Carter-Vickers, Rio Watati, Dyson Maida, players like that who are sold on the fact that come to Celtic, have a great 2 years, and we'll sell you on to a Premier League team, whatever. And Hatati and Maida, and Carter-Vickers have been here 5 years, I think. So that shit is going to be a stalemate. Whenever it is a European competition, the league was sewn up. So a stalemate was crept in from then. But that far ahead anyway. And I think only naturally, like players like Maida, Hatati, they've been here, they've served their time here, and they're probably thinking, what's next? Don't get wrong, we should still be doing the part, but it's a natural kind of reaction, I think. And so I don't think it's down to Rodgers. I think it's just players thinking where it could be elsewhere. But don't get wrong, Rodgers' football has been stinking at times. Let's not get glossed past that fact as well.
I think that's very true.
Yeah.
I think it was the same first time around as well, if I'm honest.
I did, yeah, that'd be 100%.
Is it also fair, though, that Angie's football, the second half of his second season was shite as well. I did every post-match then, right? Every post-match. I think back to that cup final, mate. It was Inverness, Cali.
Aye. Inverness, Cali.
Ooh. It was rank rotten, mate. Remember the Hibs game? I think he started bailing goals. He did make a few changes. We were desperate. This happens. I think what you're seeing now, in fact, ironically on Ange, and this isn't he's only signed a 2-year deal at Nottingham Forest this week. I think that's fascinating because I think the way football's going now, I think 2 years is your whack, mate. I think you either get that buzz or you don't initially. I think it's that reactionary now as well. And then I think after 18 months, it starts changing again anyway. And players rest in the laurels. And it's certainly Celtic's condition. It's way to go again. I've done a good 18-month trade. They're instantly looking at their watch, mate, thinking my career's ticking down. I'm 23, 24 now. I need my next move. Yeah. Sadly, that's the way it is. And that bit I understand, but that's why we need to be more fluid in the transfer market. Mick, I want your take on these potential actions. What one you endorse the most, if all or if any? We've got, would you endorse and participate in a silent protest? Would you endorse a boycott all Celtic products except tickets? Would you endorse and participate in a late entry protest? Would you endorse and participate in an early exit protest? The one that gets the most votes is the Celtic products one. I struggle with that purely because I think that gives them the weapon. If you jeopardize our sponsorship, you jeopardize the future of the club as well. Because Adidas won't forget. They won't pander to, it was just a wee spell when fans turned on us. Fans turned on the board. Now it's a new board at Celtic. We'll just go back in with a fresh offer. I think that leads to a meandering with your sponsorship revenue opportunities. I don't see the benefit in it whatsoever. I think it's bollocks. I wouldn't do it. But interestingly, got the most votes. What's your take?
Well, this is what the board's led us to, Russell, is talking about things like this. So it's on their head. Simple as that. If this is what's...
It's not on their head if they're going removed. Sorry, I'm jumping in. Apologies.
No. Well, that's what, obviously that's the main aim, is to get it removed. But we're talking about, in the meantime, proactive measures we can take, and I endorse all of them. Like I've come out of the home cup ticket scheme, so but by extension I've come out of the Europa League. Obviously, Celtic products I don't buy a lot of anyway. I never bought a kit for years. It's silent protest. I've done a heartbeat, late entry protest in a heartbeat, and early exit in a heartbeat. I'll do them. It's whatever it takes. Just the prime aim is to get them out and like get a new regime in and move forward.
But that new regime is the best opportunity, and if you jeopardise sponsorship and merchandise revenues, I think that is the stupidest move you can make, albeit it's the most. Trust me, that's the daft one for me. I look at the other ones. Yes, they affect the team to a point. Mm-hmm. Silent, late entry or early exit. I had said about the early exit one, I'd said on here, you go in there 25, 26 minutes. If it's coordinated right, imagine if the players reacted to it. Pick the right team. Someone shite is what I'm trying to say here, right? Yeah. Home game. Celtic team know you're going to leave early. 25 minutes, half time, get 3-4-0 up. Everyone fucks off at half time, the visual's still created.
Yep.
Yeah. I think an early exit protest was the one. Unsurprisingly, the one that I would have voted for the most is the least voted for one. That is just me to a T. I'm not saying I advocate anything that affects the team, but the sponsorship one is folly when you consider then the future planning for a new regime to take on. Because Adidas, for example, are too big to give a fuck who's in charge of Celtic. They'll just not forget when they got dinged.
Right, but Russell, that's the thing, right?
Mm-hmm. Go on.
They've obviously signed a new long-term deal at Adidas anyway, but The reason I think people are talking about things like this is the only language the board understand is money. So if we start spending money in products, merchandise, even simple things like buying food in the stadium, that's what will get them the most. Like I said, a boycotting games.
Do you believe that? Because you know why I'm going to flip it?
Generally,
Do you know why I'm going to flip it? Do you know why I'm going to flip it? Why do you think they've got the rainy day money there?
The rainy day money that they're making, obviously, that's just
Think.
their competence. That's down to their competence.
I don't doubt that, but guess how handy it is? Well, that money keeps all our income, right? Keeps dropping, guys. How do you expect us to invest in the squad anymore now? But they can keep dipping in their cash reserves, right? Or keep viewing their cash reserves. They can use them, right? For said, I've always speculated, what is the rainy day they are so concerned of? COVID was surely the rainy day. That was a monsoon of a rainy day. They had an insurance policy on it. So what is the rainy day they fear? I've just got this horrible feeling that it would be us withdrawing our money and then going, thank fuck we've got that nest egg there. But now, though, we have a viable, valid excuse to spend the pennies that we do on footballers because you stop paying. So it's on your head, Mick. Bhoycie, it's on your head. You stop buying the strips. How can we go get 10 million Casper Dolbergs? How can we? When you stop buying all that, they're going to fucking turn around. They've built this money up as a war chest of ammunition to use for said rainy day coming. I'm not condoning it. I'm not condoning it. And I'm not saying it's right.
I know you get Russell, but in the day, see if it supports that much against you, you could know, like you said, James Forrest mentioned it earlier, and it's something I've heard.
He did. Yes, go for it.
If the whole supports against you, and every supporters club, every branch of supporters, whatever, every supporters bus, and this has been a Yannis verdict over 400 different groups or buses, etc. Those results are from that. It's not as if it's just a small sample pool. If a support is this unanimous against you and the support is this united against you, the board's got to go. There's no long drawn out protest or drawn out process. Sorry, they've got to go and they've got to go soon. There's no fight against this now. Generally, there's over 400 different supporters buses and fan organisations have took part in this survey and voted in this. The board simply can't ignore that. That's just a fact. They all support a customer base.
I think you're right.
It's all against them, so they need to go. I need to go soon.
But this is the thing, right? And this is, I'm playing devil's advocate, Mick, because I'm so on your side on that. Right? In my opinion, they have to go. Right? And I've been saying for a lot longer than most. I certainly want their eyes kept on them. But right now, it feels the only way for engagement is going to be to find out what their plan is, to talk about their plan. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about their plans. Their plans don't work. Their plans or their strategies, Michael Nicholson confirmed on Friday, was pinned on a wall, but hadn't been articulated to the fans yet. These are facts, I'm telling you guys. Facts. Now, when it comes, Mick, to removal of the board or that sort of radical action, I get frustrated that there seems to be a strength of hand they've got. I think with the cash reserves massively, right? I really do, because that makes a bidding for the football club extortionate, right? They make out this is for you and I's benefit. It's not, because they don't do anything for you and I's benefit. But it makes a bidder fucking tricky. How much would the 49ers have to pay to buy Celtic right now had they went for us instead of Rangers? If they paid circa 80 million, plus chucked in 20 million, 25 million transfer budget to Rangers, what is it that would take Celtic to sell to them? Quadruple?
Because of the cash reserves, you mean?
Yes.
Make
it a viable sale. Make me an offer we can't refuse. We don't need to sell. You want to buy. So there's no real prospective buyers there for something that is such a and that's why the money's there. Now, what I also look at is when it comes to removal of directors and removal of the board, this is where I think the argument will fall apart, because all they're going to do is ask you this very simple question: who do you want? What's your plan? Great having sport engagement, but none of them had a plan. How on earth can we have a plan for, guys, who, okay, you want rid of us, who replaces us and who decides that? Is Dermot Desmond the major shareholder at Celtic, or do you just have a majority shareholding? And I think he is treated as the owner of Celtic, when in actual fact 34% isn't even over 50% shareholding.
Exactly.
That tells me the other companies that people seem to have a skew about, he must have their ear. Otherwise, it would not be so generally considered by everybody in their ante that he is the owner of Celtic, with just 34% control.
Mm-hmm.
How do we remove these guys and get someone fresh to pick the newbies? That's what scares me.
No, I know what you mean, Russell, but this is where the fan advisory board comes in. It's getting fans on board and people who are involved in the decision making, who represent the supporters, who represent their biggest customer base. Let's be honest, if you want to put it in their terms, we're their customer base. So if we get us inside the fan advisory board, people who represent us, then that's certainly going in the right direction. If we do that for a start, and then you take it from there, basically. Like, it's not up to the fans to decide who's the best potential director.
This is what they'll do, though. This is why I'm trying to picture to you, Mick, going, think what they'll be like. I totally agree with you again. But my worry is it's okay. And then it'll be the happy clappers. They'll go, see, guys, they don't really have a plan. They just want us out, but they don't have anyone to take over. Look at all those cash reserves. Who's buying us out? They don't have anyone enough money to do that. Who can buy a majority shareholding in Celtic to make those decisions? Or if you want the three guys to go, we'll do it for you. But sadly, because we still own the majority, we're going to pick the next three, and you'll just get more of the same anyway. This is where, yes, you can make the first imprints, but I think the longer game is a long, long game now. And my worry, and I want to pitch this one to you, is what could jeopardise that, Mick? What could jeopardise this unity that we've got? I will read out the question I asked at the meeting today. Now, I didn't expect my question to be read out, so do not think that I'm pissed off that it wasn't, because that would be absolutely childish and not what I expected at all, because there were so many comments coming in, there's so many people in attendance. But I'll pitch it to you, mate. So I said the unity is absolutely key. It has to be honest, true, and consistent. Are there tools / leverage the club could use to hamper this movement from the fans, such as negotiating on the Celtic end proposal, or if miraculously a Europa League run was achieved, for examples, the momentum has to begin and not shift. Where was this? At all. It has to begin and not shift at all from now going forward. Is that fair?
In terms of the Celtic end proposal, Russell, they done a fan survey, I think maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's still never been published with this. And apparently it was unanimously in favour of there being a Celtic
I
end.
think that was, yeah.
It's still not been published. So what does that tell you about them?
It's in favour.
They're untrustworthy for a start.
If they brought it to the table, though, could that shut off a lot of big? Because they've taken. I hope not. No, I hope you're right.
No,
That's why I'm asking.
No. Folk are too intelligent for that, and this is too little too late to save them. And it's gone too far down the road now. The fans have spoken. And
no, I'm glad to hear that, mate.
Let's say to you, you can't underestimate how many supporters and supporters groups involved in this fan survey and involved the up letter for a start, how many signatories there were, and many people have become involved since. And you see the results tonight. That's over, like, as I say to you, 400 fan groups for a start, different podcasts and stuff, different supporters buses. And that's the results you come back with. So this is not getting swept under the carpet anytime soon. Believe me, it needed to go.
Yes, I think you're absolutely spot on, mate. I want them on gone more than anyone. The reason I'm bouncing it off you is I know you've got a wee bit of inside scope with the fan groups. I know that for a fact. And I'm trying to propose questions here that I think they will need to field. Not because I'm personally fielding them, far from it. I'm so in favour of the changes. I said before, I understood the concerns of legacy fans with the Celtic end, but realistically, any business that doesn't evolve doesn't show me a fluid business, and Celtic end is something that would be caring for supporters' needs, and I think does transcend Celtic Park in a different atmosphere if the main stand in particular isn't going to be rejuvenated as we all think it should be. But I think it's a bargaining tool they've got as well. I'm sorry to say that. I think they could come to the table with that and try and play that card and go, do you want the Celtic end? Because the new board might not do that. You don't even know the new board is. It might be cherry picked by Dermot Desmond and co as well. But if you keep us in situ, we'll give you that Celtic end you want. And then that division can strike again. That's my worries. I think they're so intelligent with this stuff. I asked another question. And I asked, and I think you already know the answer to this, mate. I says, well, given that there is if a financial model, I think we kind of discussed it earlier on, there's not an optional. They surely, with a shambolic record of 7 failed from 9 previous Champions League qualifiers, tells you we are completely stuck and anchored to where we're at just now and forevermore. That one to me is damning, Mick, and will be my biggest point out of them all. Is I think Celtic's glass ceiling's domestic bliss. How do you feel about that?
That's a self-imposed glass ceiling.
Oh, 100%. Oh, 100%, buddy.
This is not a glass ceiling as a club. This is an imposed glass ceiling put on us by the board. But for a simple fact, we're offering the same or less wages as we were offering 25 years ago to players. Right. It's a small sample. We're still bulking at the transfer fees they paid maybe 20 years ago.
You're spot on.
That's not a progressive club. And that's in terms of the football landscape. We're so stuck in the past, it's scandalous.
I argued with a guy called Hoyde and a guy called Rab ERL on Twitter pretty badly in the summer of 2022. I don't give a fuck if anyone knows them. It makes no sense to me. They don't know me. I don't know them. They got personal with me. One of them offered me, of course, infamously, I don't know if you remember hearing about this, was the Superstore at 4 that day. Which is no problem, Rab, anytime still. But of course, he's now posting the same stuff I was then. Hoyde told me to go back to playing Championship Manager. Now he's posting about how Celtic could spend more within their means than what they do, which was kind of my whole point. And I based it on what you've just said there, Mick. Van Hooijdonk fees in terms of transfers, based on Umbro being our sponsor and our merch contributor when we sing guys like Carol Bratback when he scored goals in the Champions League. How we were affording to sign guys for AC Milan, Roma, etc. Right? Now we've got all the other riches that we never had then, and yet are spending the same. It doesn't make sense.
Yep.
Final one from me. Has there been, and I asked this, and of course it wasn't replied to, and again, I've got no gripes with that, mate. They were busy, right? So don't think that's me being poor little bus getting dinghied again. It's not like that. Has there been any other contact, considering there was that meeting Friday, which kind of caught everyone unawares? Is that fair? Has there been any other contact with a view to meeting any other individual from the club, such as the CEO, like occurred on the Friday?
Well, they'll be breaking protocol, Russell, because they've got no intention of meeting the fans, and they've shown that over the last few years. So, if there is going to be, then it's always.
I believe there will be.
Of course, there will be, because they're kind on desperate now, and they'll try.
So I think people aren't telling the full truth.
In what way?
I think there'll be meetings already arranged.
I generally don't think so. Generally, the cat's at the bag now with the board, and Vote are not going to be bought off easily now. But also on to him, but you know what I mean? Like,
I get you, mate.
vote are that aligned now, and then what we need to do and get the board out, then it's not going to be simple. It's not going to be as simple as that meeting is until
I know.
We're so sorry, we'll get it wrong, we'll improve. We should have done this years ago.
It's time for them to go, mate. It's time for them to go. I totally agree with you.
Message, and that's the aim for the rest of the season. As much pressure on them every week as possible.
Do you know what's so mad? I think that was my most frustrating thing with the open letter. I was like, Mark, I think they're just doing it better worded than I could. Because I think my message is, I don't care what your strategy is, because I don't believe you anymore. I want you out.
No.
But I know that's not going to get any of the dialogue. Anyway, on that note, hopefully there will be some sort of meetings at some point. Hopefully someone will be able to speak to someone at the football club in the near future. It's so important that there is a bit more dialogue, and we can only hope that we'll hear some of that in the near future. Mick, absolute blast having you on, mate. And I think you do speak for the fans, and certainly when me and you're debating, I'd just like it to be clear, it is 100% me playing devil's advocate. I am more than on Mick's side with everything that he said today. I can't emphasize enough. And if I wasn't, I would say I wasn't. I genuinely am. I'm trying to give the pushback to give people insight as to how these people at the top table operate, how I think they think, and to kind of highlight the smugness and arrogance that they've ran it for 20 years that I've been trying to highlight for as long as I have. The only outcome for me is that they've got to change. It cannot be them anymore. Mick, it's going to be a long 7 days till the next time you're on. Hopefully you'll be able to join me again next Wednesday. If not, we'll get you on a different day, whatever day suits. But it'll be a long time. A lot will pass, shall we say, I think, between now and then. As always, keep your eyes on the board. I've said it once, I'm going to say it for a second time now. Keep your eyes on the bus. Good night.